All right, welcome to another edition of the Social Proof Podcast. I don't got to introduce my sister no more. I don't got to introduce you no more, right?
Yeah.
Still?
I want a full introduction. Yes, why not?
Yeah, okay. All right, and I have a really good introduction. So today we have the female real estate guru, okay? And this is not just a cool Instagram name.
Right.
She literally is the most proficient real estate investor that I've ever met in my life. And the reason I'm telling you this is because she has amassed a huge portfolio of properties, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of properties. And not only that, but she helped me. Am I at 100? I'm at 60.
I thought you was over 100 though.
60. Then we did the 20. Yes, we're over 100.
Yeah, you're over 100.
16, then we did the 28. And then we got 3, then we got 6. So I am in the...
And 16 we're building. Let's not forget the Shands building. That's a lot of work.
16 we're building, 100%.
With an event space.
Oh my gosh.
And this space that we're in now.
I am now in triple digits of properties.
I know.
And impressively, 5 figures monthly.
Yes.
In real estate income. Passive.
How does it feel?
It feels amazing. How did you do that with me? Because I'm stubborn.
No, you're not stubborn. You're not stubborn. Well, let me say you're selective with your money. Yeah.
I mean, I ain't always have it. So I still got a little bit of poverty mindset sometimes. Like, hey, I got to keep this. Yeah. But yes, so not only have you helped me get to 3 digits in properties, over 100 properties, you've helped multiple people. I can't even count how many people, but you've helped countless people become real estate investors, regular folk. How does that feel?
Feels good. I'm happy they happy, Like, it feels good. It feels, I don't know. I don't really think about it like that. I think this should be a part of everybody's lifestyle. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think like, oh yeah, we did this. Like, I'm like, yo, you eating and it feels good and it's passive. And so it's like, once you get that taste, you can't go back.
Yeah.
Like, you got to keep on building that.
For sure. We have Miss Terrica Lynn Smith in the building. Just really stop by while you're in transition, came to Atlanta, has a layover, came here, hung out with me for a second, then you're about to head right back out. But when it comes to the word investor, because you have investor on your hat, that's a dope investor hat.
Thank you.
When you hear the word investor, what does that mean to you?
So I think for myself, right? I think everybody have their own definitions, but for me, it just means buying income.
Buying income.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anytime a word investor is mentioned, they're looking to buy income. That's the whole reason for becoming any type of investor, whether it's real estate, whether it's in stocks, whether it's in mergers and acquisitions, whether it's in like whatever, it doesn't matter. An investor buys income. That's what they do.
And I would imagine, so there's I guess levels here, right? Because you can build streams of income. Or you can buy streams of income.
That's right.
So you built some streams of income before and you've bought streams of income. So tell me about building a stream of income. Like, you're a real estate agent. Like, tell me about that process.
Yeah. So building a stream of income is, obviously much more different than buying income, because you got to put in a little bit more elbow grease than you would if you was just buying something that's already, self-sustaining. So whenever I'm looking at, building income, it's going to start from the ugliest property probably on the block. Okay, so you start there, and then you take some money and you fix it up. And if your goal is to hold it, then you look at the longevity of the deal to see how much it's going to take to, fix it up and cash flow you. And then from there, you allow that income to take care of you. So that's building in the simplest of forms. I'm trying to keep it elementary too.
But also, for sure. Yeah. But also you can talk to being a real estate agent where you had to go get clients. What was that work like? Because that was building a stream.
Yeah, that's like employee. Like, that's what it's like, being an employee. So to all of my realtors out there, make sure you're not just helping everybody else find their dream. You need to be investing in the dream as well. That's just a disclaimer. I like to say that, right?
Right.
So what does that mean, right? Whenever I was a real estate agent, I thought I was going to be super rich. Like I was like, yo, I got my license. I worked hard. It took me forever to pass this real estate exam. And here I go. And then I'm thinking like everybody was just going to want to do business with me because I have this piece of paper. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, da-da-da-da. Like, you know what I'm saying? And nobody did. Like, nobody did. And so my first year, I made $5,000 in real estate. And I'm like, I could have went to McDonald's and made way much more money than this. Like, this is ridiculous. So my first year in real estate, I was less than minimum wage, but I didn't know anybody. I didn't know anything about finding a niche. I didn't have a real estate coach. The broker was not a coach. He was my pimp. So he just, you know, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, they'd be like, go out there and work and bring me back some commission. Like, you know what I'm saying? They don't got to do nothing. They supposed to teach, train, motivate, educate, all that, but they don't. Well, some do. Let me say some brokers do, not all. But the broker I had did not. He wanted a check. And so I remember buying this CD, and you know what a CD is. Yeah, you in my age group. Yeah,
yeah, but you know, I got a younger group. You got to explain it, give the definition, what you had to do with the CD.
So back in the day, we had things that were called CDs, and they're like these circle things that have voices on them, music or whatever. I don't know how else to describe a CD. Right. And you put it into a machine and you can hear the people on it. Right. So I had bought this program. It was like $12, and I didn't know if it was fraud or not, but it was like a CD by Todd Bates, I remember. And he was talking in regards to comebacks and confidence and, you know, just finding a niche lane and different things like that. And I would listen to that CD every single day. Well, the next year I went out and I became Century 21 Rookie of the Year because I smashed the game. Like that CD, listening to it every day, just changed my mindset. It gave me confidence because when I was a realtor, I would go and ask for business like I needed them. Yeah. But the CD taught me they need me. Yeah. It's like going to a doctor, right? You need the doctor. Sure. Well, I'm the real estate doctor, so they need me. And so I built that confidence up. And then from there, I found my niche with investors. I stopped focusing on sellers and buyers, and I went solely after real estate investors. And I mean, I worked for free until it paid off, and one rich person knows another rich person. And then from there, that's how my business grew.
I love it. And there's nothing wrong with building streams of income, y'all. And I encourage it. Build a stream of income. But there's a whole nother conversation that I like to have right now. Okay. Called buying income, which is going to be foreign to a lot of people. Right. So give me an example of buying income.
I'll give you an example with the deal we just did. I always like to talk about that one. It's the easiest to break up. And to be honest, it's the freshest on my mind. And so with that one, I knew looking at the contract that we were getting from HUD, it was going to be right at $500,000 a year in income that they would be paying us. So if I buy this building performing at 90 to 95% occupancy is going to yield us about $500,000 in income each year, gross income. That's gross. Got it. And so it was a no-brainer because, you know, the entry to buy in, of course, you got to make sure the numbers make sense, but the entry to buy in and the ROIs at 28 to 30%, you know, is unheard of in this market.
28 to 30%. What do you mean?
So return on investments.
Explain that.
So what we look at is we look at the cash flow projection. We look at, you know, if we had debt services such as a mortgage and, you know, of course we got insurance and taxes and things like that. Well, once we look at the final number, the net operating income, then we're able to calculate what the ROI is going to be. So if your ROI is 28%, it'll be, let's say you had $100,000, your return on investment would be 28% of that.
Gotcha. 28% period or 28% per year?
No, per year. Per year, annually.
And that's interesting. So if like it's $100,000 property, right? And let's just say it's going to yield 28%. That means at the end of the year that $100,000, let's say for instance, it costs you $100,000. And I want to get this right. Let's say it costs $100,000, but you don't necessarily invest $100,000. You might have to put down $20,000, 20%.
Correct.
About right? Okay.
Yes. Not on this particular deal.
Not on this deal. Yeah,
right,
yeah.
Right.
Just as an example for round numbers.
Yes.
If the ROI on that $100,000 property is 28%, that means I would have made $28,000 for that year in that property.
Correct.
However, I only put down $20,000 to acquire it. Mm-hmm. So the percentage is based on the value of the house, not necessarily what I invested up front.
So it's based on, so there's two different approaches here, right? So if we're looking at buy and hold, yes. That makes sense? Yes.
Explain it.
Okay. So for instance, when we're calculating, our cap rates and our ROIs on our multifamily, we're looking at it from a very long perspective amount of time. So anywhere from 5, 10, 15 years. If you're looking at a flip, that ROI is just, that one time and then it's over with. Sure. So you'll make 20, let's just say your return on investment, is 28,000 on a flip. That's it. But on multifamily, it's 28,000 every year that you keep it, plus the equity that continues to build up. Mm-hmm. That makes sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Okay.
So in this scenario, at 28% for a $100,000 property, I invest $20,000 to acquire the property. And just in this particular scenario, you would calculate 28% ROI per year based on a $100,000 property if that property produced $28,000 for the year?
No, so you're going to confuse the audience.
Okay, yeah, I'm trying to understand because once I do, they will.
Yeah. All right, so let's just do the 100,000 and let's just break it up, okay? So if we teach you a 70% rule, right, meaning you have to be all in on a flip or a BRRRR, right? The BRRRR effect. That's when you buy, you renovate it, you refinance, you refinance, you rent, and then you repeat. Okay. That's the BRRRR method. On those two methods, let's say you have $100,000, $70,000 is the maximum that you should be into that deal. What does that mean? Your acquisition and your repairs have to come to $70,000. It cannot exceed it. And then you would have a remaining of $30,000, which is what the investor would consider the return on that investment. So on that $100,000 investment, the ROI on that one would be roughly about 30%.
I see. So you're not even going to buy it for anything more than 70% of its value.
Correct.
Got it.
For this deal. So we have to keep the equity in the property. So a lot of people get confused. They like, well, how do you come up with the 70,000? Well, the bank is going to look at the whole loan, right? We're doing a 70-30 formula. That's a second step. The first step is the $100,000. You go to the bank. They say you need to give us 20% down. So you have to come up with $20,000 of that $100,000. Okay. But you still have to follow the 70% rule. Okay. So that $20,000 is inclusive of that $70,000. That makes sense?
Yes.
So no matter what, you cannot go over $70,000 in that deal.
Got it. Okay. Let me just try to make sure I'm on the right page. Property costs $100,000, or it's valued at $100,000 after repairs and everything. It's
Correct.
Valued at $100,000. Terrica is saying she's not going to buy that property for any more than $70,000.
Correct.
So the bank is still valuing it at $100, but you're not going to buy it for anything more than $70.
No, not buy it. I will not spend more than $70 with acquisition and repairs.
Gotcha.
So my MAO, which is your maximum allowable offer, let's just say if it needs $20,000 worth of repairs.
You're only going to offer 50.
I'm only going to offer
Max.
50. Max.
Got it. So that is the beginning of acquiring a good deal. That's like the basics foundation of acquiring a good deal. Okay.
Absolutely.
That's good.
And that's an easy deal. That's not a more complex deal. We deal with some very complex deals with these larger portfolios, but this is like the elementary level of it. It's super
Gotcha.
easy. And a lot of people try to defer from these numbers. A lot of people say, yo, in my market, these numbers don't work. Well, it means the deal don't work.
So that formula works across the board. Like there's
Everywhere.
if it does, even in New York, like if
Yes.
it's New York, you're still just not going to do it until
right.
you find a good deal.
That's right.
But there are investors in whatever market that someone is that lives by this rule, right?
Yes, correct. Yes. And there's some who don't follow the rule and they get haircuts. And there's some who's more riskier than others. Some may be like, yo, I'm going to do 80-20. Well, they're more risky, right? Me personally, 730 is the standard. I do 60-40. So I turn down a whole lot more deals than I invest in.
So you even turn down those 70%ers.
That's right. That's right. Because I guess for me, when I was new, as a new investor, I would eat everything. Right. But now as an experienced investor, I understand how much time it takes to put into some of these deals. And I'm always saying, okay, do I have this amount of time to turn over this property? Yes or no? One property can probably bring me $100,000 in investment income, but I may lose a few $100,000 because the amount of time it takes me to do that. So I have to evaluate those deals according to that base as well.
That's good. All right. So this is actually making even more sense. So let's say, for instance, still on this $100,000 property, and we can get, fixed up and everything. We can get what, $1,500? Because we spent what I spent in Louisiana, 70 something thousand, and it comes out to $1,500 a month. So let's just say $100,000 property. Let's just say you can rent it out and make $1,500 a month. If we're not buying the property for more than $60,000 in your case, you would only need a loan for $60,000. Do banks give loans for $60,000?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but at max, they're only going to require 20% down, right?
Yeah. And so so keep in mind, depending on the amount of repairs, you want to buy and finance the repairs together.
For sure. Yeah. I'm calculating all that in that particular 60,000 or 70,000. Let's just say 70,000 because that's what we've been talking about. So it's going to be $50,000 to acquire the property, $20,000 in repair. You get all of that from the bank, right? So you want a loan for $70,000.
20% of the 70.
Right. Okay. But they're calculating at 70,000, but you are going to have to put down $14,000 to acquire that property.
That's right. That's it. But it's going to be worth $100,000. So you're going to have $30,000 in equity, or if you sell it, you get $30,000 in cash, minus a few expenses, of course.
Got it. So I want to do some quick math real quick.
Okay.
So if we have a loan for $70,000, we're going to have to put down $14,000, right? But if you rent it out for $1,500 a month times 12 months, that's $18,000.
That's correct.
So potentially that first year, you get your money back and some, and then it cash flows you for the rest of your life.
Correct. Along with the equity continuing to appreciate. Let's not forget appreciation, and let's not forget, all of the other benefits that comes with owning that investment property, such as all the write-offs that comes with it.
What are some of the write-offs?
So like you can write off interest, with the banks, you can write off, maintenance and different things like that, expenses you may have. You get tax breaks for like your insurance and all of those different type of things you pay for the property. So, it's really good.
I like it. So, okay. So no one ever really explained to me this process before you. And I was only looking at, okay, $100,000 property. I got a loan for $70,000. I'm going to make $1,500 a month. And it just wasn't
attractive.
It wasn't as attractive because I'm like, all right, well, how many t-shirts can I sell to make $1,500? I'll just make it, right? But then I realized I got to keep making that money, right? And but the cool thing is, like, literally after your first, few months or first year, you've created an asset that will pay you for the rest of your life.
Absolutely.
And you started with one, right?
Yes. I started with one ugly house, $5,000, my tax return.
And how many you got now?
It's over 500.
Over 500.
Yeah. Yeah, I sold a few this year, but yeah, I'm still.
You sold a few?
Yeah, I had to sell a few.
Why?
Had to get rid of a partner.
Explain that. What do you mean?
So, Whenever I first started building my portfolio, I like I said, I work with a lot of investors. And so some of our investments, we have, JV agreement, joint venture agreements, where we both own the asset. Sometimes partners go through things personally that distracts them from, what you initially started off together and agreed upon. And I'm one who believes you don't just sit at a table and eat. Like, you don't just do that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have to carry your weight, and you have to do your part, because, it gets to a point where you doing everything and they're just eating everything. And it's like, yo, we're not equally yoked no more. Like, we can't do that. And so, aside from, just other things.
Why did you initially go into that particular JV?
So this was a part of my early days in real estate, whenever I was like, I didn't have any money. And, I was like, if I'm going to do 50% of the work and you putting up the money, then I don't mind. Right. Well, now it's to the point where, there's some things in a deal where it requires the other partner, right? Like, let's say we want to, refinance and be able to do some other stuff. And this person got like a lot of financial stuff going on. Well, you're the money person. So I don't want to have to go refinance it by myself, because at this point, I don't need you as a partner. Yeah. Like, you're not going to still eat and you can't carry your weight. Now, if you don't take care of your private business and it start affecting our business, then we have a problem. You know what I'm saying? So as your partner, I commit to making sure that I remain credit worthy. I work with integrity. I'm honest. I make sure that I'm transparent. All of the books are open. Like, there's no hidden agenda with me. And your part is to make sure that you're fundable. Make sure banks want to give you money. And if the banks can't give you money, there's no reason for you to keep sitting at the table to eat. Like, let me buy you out, or let's just sell the asset as a whole. And that's what happened.
Okay. Was it a lot of them?
No, not too bad. Not too bad. I mean, not too bad.
All right, man. You do a lot of JV stuff.
I do.
Though. I think some of it is just out of the kindness of your heart.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Like Franklin.
Like Franklin, yeah. Yo, first off, I said that though, okay? And we're going to talk about it. So Terrica calls, and I still got the text. She was so excited. And again, I didn't understand why she was so excited. She's like, oh my gosh, this is a deal of a lifetime. I said,
the best deal still of my 18 years in the game. My attorney is upset at me about this deal. Our other attorney tried to buy the deal.
Right.
And we've had since then 3 other offers. That's how sweet of a deal this is.
Dang. Well, like, she's like, yo, we got this deal. And it's so amazing. It was, how much did they want for it?
600. No, they wanted $1 million.
They wanted $1 million. I wouldn't have even thought to offer them like 60% of what they wanted.
Well, I started at 500.
You started at 500.
Yeah.
And I think you said, yo, it's actually worth $1 million.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think he was like, yo, if they don't take the 600,000, we'll pay more. But
yeah, that's right. I was willing to get the deal, because even at $1 million, the numbers made sense.
Yeah, and you know what? You said it was like their brother or something like that has another. It was like another 30 units or something.
Mom.
Mom had like another 30 units, and she said, I think you said we were going to pay like $1 million for that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, why are we paying $1 million? Why are we paying double for half the property? And that's when I realized how good of a deal this was.
Oh yeah, definitely a good deal. I mean, the bank said, here's $2 million with no problem. Like, they were ready. Yeah. Like, we wanted to look at refinancing. I mean, they have no issue with it. Like, it's just a good deal. Like, it's never been that easy to get that. They didn't send us through no red tape.
Yeah.
Like, not. In fact, they calling us to follow up to be like, yo, you want to refinance the deal? Let us give you some money on this. I'm like, yeah, not right now.
I want to talk about that too. But so let me just finish the story. So around this time, I think we started like either the first or second property challenge. Was it the first one? Like right after the first one, I believe.
Yeah.
Or a second one, something like that.
I don't remember.
So let me just explain it. Terrica runs the property challenge. Go to thepropertychallenge.com right now and make sure you get on the waiting list. But so So I think we come up with the $600,000, and I know that. All right, Terrica got 200,000, Derek got 200, and she calling me, so I'm like, I could put up my little 200,000 and we good, because he started running through the numbers, and Terrica's like, no, and I'm like, what do you mean? She said, no, you could put up a little bit, I put up a little bit, but the people that are in my inner circle, we want them to invest so they too can be owners of 60 units.
That's right.
And I'm like, why don't we just give us like some, like some little one-offs to help out with the 60 units? And she's like, I'm like, yo, we have the money. Like, we just do it. And Terrica's like, I understand it. But in terms of a legacy play, and I think this really solidifies you above anyone else in the real estate space, because no one's giving people their return, even in like crowdfunding scenarios. Like nobody's going to do this. Yeah. And the people who are actually doing like crowdfunding don't even have as many personal properties as you. Right. You know what I mean? Now, I see a bunch of people that do real estate stuff. Right. But literally none of them have the receipts you have. Right. And you're good at teaching, and you're like, and you have a good heart. Yeah. Like, it's like, all right, well, if we going to eat, we all going to eat. The people who decide to join the inner circle. So we now have, what was it? Actually, I could look at it right now because it got my distribution on there. Let me show y'all my distribution. I'm not going to show y'all my distribution, but let me show y'all tell y'all real quick. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people, including myself, Terrica. Where is Derek on here somewhere?
Yeah, me and Derek on there.
So you and
TLS.
TLS. Oh, so in Terrica Lynn Smith, that's you and Derek. Okay. Oh, that's lit. And we all got the top one, so that's cool. Yeah. Anyway, so in amongst this group of people, in those groups of people that put up like 50,000 or whatever, there's like someone where it's like a bunch of partners that came up to the table with that, right? Explain that.
Yeah. So what happened is there's 6 or 7 main investors. And then those main investors, if they had to come up with like $100,000, they went to their friends, the other investors in the group. And they said, okay, this 100,000, we just need 10 people at $10,000 or something like that. And then they created their own entity. Got it. And then the person who, sits at the table is what we call a POC, the point of contact for that entity. And they the ones who deal with it. We don't have dealings with the entire downline of the people that's invested. We only have the dealings with the POC, the point of contact.
Got it. Okay. That's awesome. So this first distribution, I think it's like close to 10% or 8%
in 3 months. So just keep in mind, so July, August, September. So we started collecting payments in August, I believe. So August, September, October, and November. So it would be 4 months, right? Because December doesn't count as a payout month because you receive it in December. And so I think total, what is the total amount we're paying out on this investment collectively?
The total amount is $116,031.42.
Yes. So the investors get back $116,000 over that principal investment, which is unheard of right now in that short amount of time. The beautiful thing about that is that's quarterly. So you'll continue getting those payments because we collect, and then we cut quarterly. So you'll continue getting these for the next 20 years.
All because people decide to join your inner circle.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to ask this because I want to talk about this. The bank wants to give you money, right? And original plan says that we're going to refinance with the bank, take their cash, take out a loan, and then, we'll just pay the loan back, which is cool because
it was the Burr method.
Yes, the Burr method, which was, hold on, let me see if I can remember. Buy, rehab.
Renovate, yep.
So buy, renovate, refinance, rent, and repeat? Yep. Okay, okay, cool.
You got it.
So But there was a reason you didn't want to take the money just yet.
Right. So what I think what's important is, understanding investing as a whole. If you're looking for instant gratification, the inexperienced investor would have said, give me the money. Mm-hmm. Right. And I mean, don't get me wrong, $2 million is nothing to just turn your nose up at. Yeah. Right. And obviously we wanted to do that because of the simple fact that's what the original plan was. So what the audience have to understand is we bought this property for $600,000. We did like $400,000 to $500,000 in renovations. I think we're all in at $1.1 million. Mm-hmm. Our appraisal came back without HUD comps at $3.2 million. Mm. So in 6 months, we turned $1 million into $3 million. That's a 200% return in equity already, right? We have no debt. And the property right now brings in right at, 30 to 40 grand a month, depending on, vacancies. Mm-hmm. So with that, you take all of that success, you go to the bank and you say, hey, I want to refinance this. They say, do you have any debt? You say, absolutely none. How, what's your occupancy? We're at 90%. Okay, great. We want to do this deal, right? Mm-hmm. And you know the process. They approved us very quickly, yep. Right? So then they say, whenever you take on bank debt, you got to take on bank obligations, right? And requirements. So as a investor who owns something free and clear, you don't have the same requirements as someone who's going to get a lien holder on their property, which is a bank, right? And so the bank was like, look, we want for you to get flood insurance on this property. We like, but the property never flooded. They said, we don't care. It's in a flood zone. We want you to get flood insurance. We're like, all right, bet. Now, mind you, I already knew that, we would need flood insurance going to the bank. But what a lot of people don't know is insurance is regulated by politics. So because we're in a different politics season right now, insurance is not at the forefront of our state representatives right now. Maybe it is. I don't feel it though, right? And so what that looks like is, FEMA came out with the new 2.0, which that's another conversation. Don't get me started. But what it looks like is for us to insure this property, we would have to pay $200,000 a year in flood insurance for a property that never flooded. Because the bank requires flood insurance because they're regulated by the federal government, which is FEMA. And if they was to get an audit and not have a flood policy in place on a property that they financed and gave money for, then they would be hit with fines. That's cool and dandy for them, right? So when we found this out, we like, yo, that is a lot of money. Well, guess what? Come next year, we receive notices because when you own something, they have to inform you. They informed us that the state of Louisiana insurance rates are going to increase for businesses 63%.
What?
63%. So that's a haircut for
Golly.
us. So you mean to tell me just in flood insurance alone, that takes up more than 50 to 60% of our gross income. That don't even count our payroll, our maintenance, bookkeeping, marketing. It includes none of that. You mean off the bat, I'm going to be $200,000 to $300,000 just in insurance? And then by the time we, add on the debt from the bank, the property became negative cash flow positive, negative cash flow, meaning we were negative 15% on our investment, meaning we would be making cash calls every single month if we was to take that $2 million cash that the bank was going to give us. So we said, yo, we're not going to refinance it. We're not in a position where we need the $2 million. Yeah. We just wanted to get back 100% return and do all this other fun stuff. But guess what? Politics change all the time. It's not to say we won't ever do it, but right now, this is not the season to do it. And so, that's how we did it.
Yeah, I think it's really, really, it's important to be working with somebody who understands it because, you would think, okay, well, the property has $2 million worth of equity in it. Oh, $200,000 a year, no problem. Oh, insurance going to go up a little bit, no problem. But until you understand the numbers, you might find out you're in a bad situation. I didn't know if all of that happened, we'd be negative. Guys, well, that's stupid.
Yeah.
But so along with insurance going up 63%, why is it?
Politics. That's all I can say right now. Politics. So in Louisiana, we had this past hurricane season, we did not have any hurricanes. So we're hoping insurance providers come back to the state of Louisiana. And if anybody's out there who owns insurance companies and want to come to the state of Louisiana, we will welcome you. And I will guarantee you good business if you have great rates.
I love it.
But right now, no insurance company want to be out there because it's high risk. So we have to deal with the local insurance companies, which said, yo, we supposed to be last resort. We ain't supposed to be your first resort.
Right.
So they're like, we're going to tax you on that, right? So investors be like, well, you probably shouldn't buy. No, you can self-insure. I mean, we used to do that all the time in my early stage of investing, right? What does self-insure mean? Meaning the same money you pay the insurance company that you would be forced to pay, you can allocate a fraction of that into a whole entire insurance account. And if there's something that ever happens, you go pay to handle the repairs of the property.
Yeah, for sure.
We have 3 construction companies. Why not just insure it ourselves?
Yeah.
So
that's smart.
Yeah.
That's smart. Okay. So first off, if you really, really are serious about getting into real estate and you haven't been able to trust any of these social media real estate gurus, make sure you join the Property Challenge because literally changing my entire financial life, but also my perspective on how money really, really works.
Yeah.
I just got so excited because we just started talking about it yesterday of how I could have a 6-figure year passively. Mm-hmm. Meaning if I have a 6-figure year passively, if I ever get canceled or I'm ever in a position where I can't work or my health, something happens or I can't go perform, I can't do these podcasts, my family will still be taken care of.
Absolutely.
I can live off $100,000 a year. Me and my family.
Absolutely.
I mean, we can't, I'm not adding shrimp to every pasta. But
yeah, life is good.
Oh yeah, we can just sit in the house, right? Yeah. It's like retirement. Ooh, it's retirement money now.
I told you I could have retired yesterday.
You could have retired 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But here's another thing I wanted to talk about. So for a beginning investor, somebody that, what do you need to start investing? Just to start?
The mindset. To know that you can be an investor. I think a lot of people disqualify themselves because, when you're not in a room where people are having like-minded conversations and or you actually seeing someone do it, you think that is out of reach. And I hear that a lot from everybody that comes through the Property Challenge, like, yo, I never thought I can be an investor. Well, if someone that, was a teenage mom who was homeless, who was in foster care. I mean, every adversity you can possibly go through in life, if I can do it, I feel like anybody can do it. Like, it ain't rocket science. I feel like real estate is one of the easiest industries to become a millionaire in. And there's no requirements other than knowledge.
Let me ask you this. Becoming a real estate millionaire, how's that described?
What you mean?
So in the digital space, to be a millionaire, I have to have $1 million. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Not even if I make $1 million in sales, if I don't have the million, I'm not a millionaire. Like, you have to do it through assets. But what does it look like to be a millionaire in real estate, definition wise?
So I would say you have, $1 million portfolio, because that's what the bank is going to look at. That's how they're going to categorize you, right? They're not going to be like, oh, you're 100,000 there. If you got, 4 or 5 properties with a value of $1 million, you have $1 million portfolio. Like, you get what I'm saying?
But is it based off of the equity?
Absolutely.
Okay, so $1 million worth of equity.
No, not just, so I would say a value, like, and that includes the equity, but not just the equity, the whole entire value piece of it, right? And what does that mean? You can have you can buy a property for $100,000 and have $50,000 worth of equity. So if you're just saying off of equity, that's just $50,000. No, it's $150,000, so. 150? Yeah, because it's worth $150,000.
Oh, you're saying a property is worth $150,000.
Mm-hmm. You have 50 in equity, but you put out 100.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. So if I had, I don't know, Okay, but it doesn't seem like if I have 5 properties that all are worth $200,000, but I owe $200,000 on each property, doesn't seem like I'd be a millionaire.
Yeah, because you're not counting equity. So
because there isn't any equity in that particular
you said
scenario.
they're worth it.
Right.
That's what you said. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like so it's like you have ARV, after repair value, right? That's taken into consideration. If you buy a property for $200,000, you shouldn't owe $200,000.
Unless you're not in the property challenge.
Yeah, right.
Unless you haven't been
not following any formulas.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But you do take out your debts and different things like that. So I don't want people to be confused. But when they look at your portfolio, they're going to look at, if you have income that is paying the notes on these, they're going to consider that good debt. Like, you get what I'm saying? Right. So all of that still count towards your bottom line. So you can easily build $1 million real estate portfolio. In fact, that's really not hard at all to build. Do it mean you make $1 million? Absolutely not, right? But that's your assets. That's your value that the bank is placing upon you. And I promise you, they will give you that value. They will not, be like, oh, you owe this amount. So no, they're going to be like, no, this property is worth about $300,000. Now they will calculate your monthly debt, but if you have a property where it is tenant occupied, then it becomes income that they're counting as well.
Got it. How long does it take typically for a property to double in value?
That's a great question, and it depends on appreciation.
I guess there's no real answer to that, like no
and
formula,
inflation.
Right?
No, not necessarily a formula, but I'll tell you this: it's based upon how you buy. So, for instance, if we, take a property that, is flipped, and then by the time we finish flipping it, we've doubled the property value. Like, that makes sense? Like, you can double it that way. If you waiting on appreciation, depending on how much property appreciate, let's just say we're at,
Google it.
What?
Now I'm just going to Google it. Like, what does the internet say about how long it takes? Not how long it takes.
It's like 5 to 7% in appreciation.
Okay.
See what that is right now. A year. I think it's like 5% to 7% a year.
Appreciation rates. Okay. Real estate appreciation rate. Total appreciation 7.35%.
See, I was
right
last
on. Quarter.
Yeah. So
the last 12 months is 25%. Last 2 years, 42%. Last 5 years, 69%.
That's collectively, right?
Yeah, from 2017. From 2017, quarter 2, 2017 to 2022, quarter 2, real estate has appreciated in America 70%.
Yeah, that's collectively.
Okay.
Gotta be.
Since 1991, the average annual home price increase has been 4.3% according to FHFA. Since 2000, the average rate has been 4.7%, and since 2012, the average rate has been 7.7%.
So I was right on. So 5 to 7%.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. So funny thing is though, if you just Google a year, you're gonna get a crazy number. Like Google 2020 or 2021, where interest rates were ridiculous low.
Oh, yeah, it'll be a whole nother.
It'll be skyrocketed up, right? So again, I pay attention to the history of real estate. I don't just pay attention to the market we in right now.
Gotcha.
So
that's what's up. What's your plans for the times that we're in right now? And after kind of post COVID-19 situation and kind of in the recession space, what are your goals?
Diversifying my portfolio, meaning becoming international, right? Becoming more smarter and wiser with the way that I invest, where I invest, how I invest, and actually transitioning out of the actual labor part of it and going more into the bank part of it. So,
you're going to be the bank.
Yes. Yeah. So we become the lender. Yeah. So like right now we're evaluating a deal for someone where they're looking for 60,000. So, I have quite a bit of liquid and it's my money. So I'm not regulated, by, the mortgage board or whatever, because I can loan my money to whoever I want, right? And so I find that I still have, first lien position just as a bank would, right? The bank comes in, they have first lien position, and they will hold that property until you pay off that entire loan for 15, 20, or 30 years. Well, I'm just going to be in the same position. We give $60,000, you pay us back 7-8%, over a period of time, and we still own that same amount of doors as that same person owned. So
I just realized, and I always forget about it. I'm the bank on this one property. So a friend came to me, and I called Terrica just to get her advice. I was like, this is 2 plots of land, and he wants to sell them for $100,000, but he wants to develop them. So he started getting the plans and all that kind of stuff already. But he's like, yo, I need you to buy it for $100,000, buy the land. And I sent it to Terrica. She's like, all right, well, if the land makes sense, we're good. You can buy it. So I buy it for $100,000, but we have an agreement that in 6 months he'll buy it back for $125,000.
Correct.
So I'm the bank.
You the bank. That's right. You loaned your money out and it's doing good for you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Hey, listen, man, if y'all got a really, really good deal, hit us up. I got a couple dollars for you. Nothing crazy. If it's over $100,000, hit Terrica, okay? But if you need like a couple dollars. Oh, let me ask you this. So let's say, for instance, somebody wants to buy a property for $200,000. And the bank is, let's say the property's worth, I don't know, $300,000. They can acquire this property for $200,000. So obviously they want to make this deal happen. But they don't have the 20% that they need to put down on the property.
I wouldn't do that deal.
Why?
Because I would be second lien position. Because they go into a bank to give them that 20% that they don't have, that put the bank in first lien position. So what happens is if that person default, the bank get paid first and then I get paid second.
But the bank, will the bank get paid? Will you not get paid if the bank is paid, or do you get paid when the bank is paid?
No. So what happens is, so I always look at worst case scenario, right? So if that person foreclosed on a property, the judge is going to say, okay, who are the lien holders? All right, what positions are they in? The federal government supersedes everybody, right? So if they have, back taxes or whatever, they're going to take the money from there first. Then the next person up is usually the bank. The bank say, oh, they owe us all this plus court costs, plus attorney fees, plus all this money they done put out to get the property back from this person who done defaulted. Then the third person would be me, because I just put up the down payment.
So where does this payoff come from if the person forecloses it?
So so what happens is whenever you get a loan, there's a mortgage insurance that you can get where the banks can, they use it as protection, right? And so a lot of the times it falls up under there. But if the property itself doesn't fall up under that category, then that's when foreclosure take place. And the proceeds are divvied up based according to the proceeds of whatever's left over.
Well, what proceeds?
Right. The house sale. Where do you think foreclosures come from?
Foreclosure, somebody buys the house for a lower number.
That's right. So let's say, all right, this is a perfect story, okay? We're going to chop this up. So let's just say this person said the property was $100,000, but they needed us to give them $20,000 because that's 20% of the down payment. And they go to the bank and the bank said, congratulations, here is the money, right? Boom. That person foreclosed on it. That person defaults on the payments. The bank said, you know what, you behind on payments. And, interest, it accumulates daily. So the longer they behind, the more money it's going to cost. So by the time it gets to the foreclosure proceedings, this person has not made any payments, and we're just using worst case scenario, right? The foreclosing proceeding costs money. The attorney, the sheriff, all of those people that's involved, they all cost money. So let's just say by the time it finished the foreclosure proceedings, you probably into it for $120,000. Let's say that, right? The bank has to come on the market and they have to get rid of these properties. So they're going to come on the market 9 times out of 10, way less than what that person owed because they want to get rid of it. So let's just say the bank come on the market at $80,000 and the bank settles on $60,000 with a buyer in a foreclosure deal. The buyer picks it up at $60,000. Woohoo! The buyer happy. The original buyer that asked for the $100,000. Imagine the bank have not collected all of their money.
So that first $60,000 that person bought it for, that goes to the bank.
It goes to the first person. So if the IRS say, yo, that person behind $60,000, we need that money.
Yeah.
It goes to the IRS first. Then there's nothing left over for the first lien position and or myself. And so let's just say the first lien position say, yo, we gave them, $80,000 and they had $20,000 worth of fees. We're only making $60,000. There's no money left over. Well, they're first lien position, so they get to keep it all. So for me, I wouldn't be interested in being a second lien position.
So you never get your money on that property ever?
On this particular deal, no.
You're just out of the money.
You have to go file civil and go after them again. But if they file foreclosure and they went through that, what they gonna have?
Nothing. Wow. Okay.
So you still do the process, still file a civil claim, try to get their wages garnished. You can try.
So you go after that person that, okay, got you. But here's the thing. Let's say that person, say they sell the property for $60,000, they owe the bank, they owe $120,000. Out of $120,000 of that, they owe the bank $100,000. So the bank is in for $100,000 with their 80 plus fees.
Yes.
Then you're $20,000 that you loan. They sell it for $60,000. They still owe the bank $40,000.
The bank can come after them for their remaining balance if they wanted to.
If they don't, can I come after them and get my $20,000? Or when it comes to wage garnishment, it automatically defaults to pay off that other $40,000 to the bank?
No, they have to go after their own debt. So every lien holder have to go after their own debt. So if we're going after our own debt, then we would be entitled to, whatever that situation is at that time.
Woo! All right. The lesson to be learned here is buy foreclosure properties. That's what I got from that whole scenario. All right, listen, man, we can learn a whole lot more at the Property Challenge. Listen, I very rarely come on here and say, hey, go do this. Go sign up for this. Go sign up for that. I very rarely do that.
Yeah.
I am telling you that I am not only a student, but I'm also a partner, meaning she helped me actually acquire properties that pay me every single month. Okay. So Terrica is doing a 5-day property challenge called thepropertychallenge.com.
Yes.
I need you to go to y'all have not heard me promote somebody this heavily about their product. I come get a story, we learn some information, and then listen, you tell the people how they connect with you.
That's right.
I'm out of that.
That's right.
But in this scenario, I am wholeheartedly telling you all, go to thepropertychallenge.com, okay? Not only me, she has changed so many people's lives in the real estate space. It is unbelievable. And she's good at teaching it. So she's doing it well, she's teaching it well, but she's still actually doing it and still learning the game, still learning the laws, she's still in the game. So go to thepropertychallenge.com. It will benefit you to make sure you go VIP. VIP, you actually get more time with Miss Terrica Lynn Smith.
Yes, we get to talk it up, chop it up,
ask
questions. Up. Yes.
Like personal questions. Like in my scenario, this is my question for you for 5 days.
Yes, 5 days.
Dang. Listen, make sure you go to thepropertychallenge.com. What has been, because you weren't in the teaching space forever. You were just building.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Terrica like, Terrica, I know you don't like humans like that. You know what I mean? Not that she'll like humans, but she is not your extrovert. She's not like me, like, oh, let's go hang out with some people.
Oh, yeah, like, yeah.
Listen, let me go look at real estate deals and I'm out of it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, Terrica, there's so many people who need the information, not just me.
Right.
Because I have a relationship, and you could have just continued to help me build my portfolio, and Tiffany and the other Tiffany, all these other people, like you working with B. Simone and all these other people, right? You working with celebrities and stuff now. It's crazy. But like we could have that personal relationship. And I asked Terrica, like, yo, let me give you to the world.
Yeah, you did. And I'm grateful for you. Like, I need to give you your flowers because I'm telling you, like, I would have never like imagined the amount of impact something like this would have. Like, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, I can go back all the way to our original text. Like, I'm like, David, I don't care about no money. I don't care about none of that. If we're going to help people in real life, then let's do it. Like, that's what matters to me. And I think that's why, you know, so many people have success, because we place them first. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And we're big on taking care, you know, of kingdom business. So I think that's why it works.
Let me tell you the fight. We just had this yesterday, and I just was like, what, Terrica? So we were talking about the property challenge, right?
No, don't bring this up.
We going there.
No.
So I'm like, you know, like my goal, I want to get into as many as people as possible. So, you know, in my market brain, I'm like, yo, we got to run some ads because we got to get more people to know who Terrica is. And Terrica's like, no.
Yeah.
Like, why? He's like, yo, I don't want it to be inauthentic, and I don't want to be like these other people that are kind of in the real estate space and they're running ads and marketing. She's like, yo, I just want to build it organic. I'm like, T, there's a real fight we're having.
Yeah.
T, I understand you want to do it organically, but there are people who don't know you, and when you reach them through some sort of social media platform, they will have their life changed too. So we can't just change the lives of the people that we know. We got to find people that we don't know. And I know it's uncomfortable because, you know, she said this. She said, I don't want to take away from the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, that's right. I don't want to interrupt that. You blasted me, David. I did say that.
Yo, but that's why I absolutely love you, because it really ain't about like getting people to buy a ticket. Now for me, I'm telling y'all, buy a ticket to Property Challenge. I don't care what Terrica talking about. I am going to be that mouthpiece for her to get her out to the world. Only because if something changes your life, you tell people about it.
Yeah.
Like if I watched a good movie and it was amazing and it affected me in a certain way, I have no problem telling people, listen, go invest $10 to go watch this movie. Make sure you get some popcorn, make sure you get some drinks, invest in yourself, because this is an experience. I have no shame in doing that. So I'm telling people they need to go to the Property Challenge and sign up right now.
You just sold me on the movies, bro. Like that expensive popcorn, but you know, it's the experience, you know?
Yeah, I want you to have the same experience as I had.
Yes.
And I knew it was real. This is when I knew it was real. And this is when I was like, I'm like all in with being like the person who blows the trumpet, shouting Terrica's name. We go to it might have been like the first gathering of the people in Inner Circle. And very casually, Derek is telling me, he said, yo, 70% of the people in the people that are in the Inner Circle actually have an investment property.
Yes.
And I said, that is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Nobody has that high, like in any mastermind, you don't get 70% results.
Yeah.
50, maybe. 35, more common.
Yeah.
Because everybody ain't going to do the work.
That's right. But shout out to our Inner Circle. I mean, they are in, like, they understand, like we started, like the program works when you work it. And so they have been working. They've been doing 100%. Everything we've said. And because of it, you know, their works have been blessed. Like that's what happens when you do it right, you know. And so I'm excited for them.
Yeah. And as of now, you can't even skip straight to the Inner Circle. You have to go through the Property Challenge.
You have to. And
that was one thing that Terrica made very clear. She's like, yo, if somebody isn't going to follow, that's why there's 70%. Okay, here it's making sense now. Terrica said, yo, if you're not going to be diligent enough to sit down for 5 hours over a week to understand real estate, if you get in the Inner Circle, you just bypass that and you get in the Inner Circle, you're not going to do the work anyway.
That's right.
And
you're going to be all mad.
We both waste each other's time.
That's right.
So go to if you ever want to get close and you want to be in Terrica's Inner Circle, having access to these deals, things of that nature, because on the 28 unit, me being in the Inner Circle, I had access to get be a part of that. Okay, so being in Inner Circle, there's a bunch of people that also they're on the 60 unit property. It's just amazing things happening. So go to thepropertychallenge.com. Okay, this is This is a decision that will change your life. You want to stop hustling, making money. Course sales are slowing down. We don't know what's going on with influencers. Instagram is controlling the algorithm. So if you're building something online, who knows who's going to see it? When when Mark Zuckerberg decides that people can see your stuff, he will turn the button and he will make sure people see your stuff. But until then, you are going to be making content and wondering why people are not watching it. But this is one thing that you can do. You ain't got to be a celebrity. You ain't got to be no star. You ain't got to be articulate. You ain't got to be able to speak. You ain't got to have no sales skills. You just have to be able to follow directions.
That's it.
And Terrica is the leader that you want to follow. Okay, so thepropertychallenge.com. If it's open right now, congratulations, you're blessed. If not, if it's a wait list, sign up for the wait list because another property challenge will be coming up soon. Okay, so thepropertychallenge.com. Terrica, thank you.
Thank you.
I know you gotta get to the airport.
Love it. Yes, I do.
You got any closing words for us?
Yeah, go to thepropertychallenge.com.
See, look, Terrica promoting now. Let's give her a round of applause. Terrica's here. She's a believer. And it's so dope because you get more excited when you get more students getting results. So
that's right. I get excited over the results for sure.
That's the kind of stuff we talk about. So listen, man, thepropertychallenge.com. Tell a friend to tell a friend. You need to have your whole family in the property challenge because this is where like legacy begins with you, okay? So make sure you follow Terrica on Instagram at Female Real Estate Guru, spelled just how it sounds, Female Real Estate Guru, and go to thepropertychallenge.com.
Let's go.
Out of here. Peace.
Yay. We out. We got my phone.
It's 11:30. Okay. Do you got